Hi there, I am Multi-Topic Talk. This is future me talking. In case you missed part 1, you will find part 1 in the description of this video. Now we enter part 2, more power scaling. And at some point, maybe next week, I don't know when, you girls and guys will get part 3. Anyway, let's do this. Coming next, something very interesting. The flashbacks we get to read in volume 27 of the manga. Yes, I am talking about these episodes in Shippuden where we get to see how Kakashi Atake gained and earned his Sharingan Eye. How he was part of Team Minato and he was with Obito. Now, I will say that this segment here only covers that part. It doesn't cover, like, after that. So that means we don't really get to see, like, Sharingan Kakashi there. We don't really get to see Obito dealing with the Embus and Rin dying. It's really up to the point where Kakashi gets the Sharingan Eye. And I will specify something else. I don't think we will scale Kid Kakashi with Sharingan because I don't remember seeing him having a fight. Maybe I'm wrong. Once we get into Shippuden and we learn about Obito backstory, maybe we will rectify that and add Kakashi with Sharingan. But as of right now, we will only scale Kid Kakashi based on the Third Great War just before Obito died. So yeah, this is what we will be doing. So I am done watching and reading again the Kakashi Gaiden, if we can call it that way. So with that being said, I gotta admit it and say this. Minato Namikaze Jonin is broken, is OP, he is really strong. The biggest reason why he is actually lower than Jiraiya, Tsunade, or Orochimaru, it's because in Kakashi Gaiden, Minato plays a very small role. And on top of that, all he gets to fight are like Jonin level threats. Yes, he is able to beat them down, all of them, really fast. Really classy, you know? This is Minato. He is destroying most Jonin he sees and meet. He is broken. But here's the catch. What's the point on scaling you so high if you only take on weaker threats than you? Up to that point, in the manga and anime, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru all showed what they were able to do, how OP they can be, how high level they are. So yeah, this is why Minato is lower than them. But again, this may change because now we only covered Kakashi Gaiden. And if I remember correctly, later on in the manga and anime, we learned that Minato fought Raikage A. So yeah, this will be really interesting. With that being said, I placed Obito on the lower end of Chunin because I do think he is stronger than low Chunin, but I cannot scale him any higher because most of the time he fought like cannon fodder, as we call. The opponent he fought were not that strong. They are either Chunin or Jonin, and even there, they underestimated him, so they didn't go full on, all in. I do think Jirobo stomps Obito, but I also think that Obito destroy any low tuning ninjas because he has the Sharingan, and don't underestimate that buff. When it comes to Kid Kakashi, as I said, I will not scale Sharingan Kakashi when he is a kid yet. Maybe this will change, but the small amount of screen time we got to see Kakashi fight with the Sharingan on was too small. It's really hard to scale him, and it's really hard to say, oh yeah, he is stronger than when he didn't have that Sharingan. He didn't master that Sharingan. Yes, he added that allowed him to have the perfect Chidori that let him create what was missing from his own jutsu. So Sharingan is a buff indeed, because now he can use the Chidori without being in danger for it. But again, it's really hard to scale Sharingan Kakashi based on Kakashi Gaiden because he barely fought. And what he fought was cannon fodder. Minato did step in to save him. So yeah, I do think Kakashi and Team Minato is most likely stronger than Enko because he created his own jutsu. And it was going against many Jonin and Chunin, and he stomped most of them. And he's like at 13 years old at that point, like 12 years old. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's as simple as that. I do think Kid Kakashi is stronger than Enko, Ayate, and Sakon. But here's the catch to it. I also think that Kiba Retrieval arc is stronger because of Double-Headed Wolf. I don't see Kid Kakashi being able to deal with Double-Headed Wolf. I just don't see that happening. So this is why Kakashi sits right there. We now enter in Shippuden territory, also known as Naruto Part 2. Hell yeah, we are doing it! With that being said, this is the first arc, the Kazekage Retrieval arc, and I will say this is the easiest arc in Shippuden to split into chapters and episodes. Trust me, starting with Teunchi Bridge, it will get messy a lot. With that being said, the Kazekage Retrieval arc covers chapter 2. Rewind this. It covers chapter 245 to chapter 282. It also covers episode 1 to episode 32. So this means it covers roughly 40-ish episode in the manga and 30 episode in the anime. I cannot wait to rewatch all of these great fights. I did read again this arc, so the next step is me watching again what's going on in the anime and only the meat. What's canon? I don't give a F about filler. As I am recording this part, I am just done watching and reading again the Gaara vs Deidara fight and the new bell test. With that being said, after the new bell test, I can attest that now Kakashi is on a high Jonin level because he used a lot of juicy jutsus. And he fought a Naruto that trained with Jiraiya for like 3 years. And he also fought like Sakura. And Sakura is basically a weaker Tsunade at that point. So yeah, Kakashi deserves to be in that high Jonin tier just based on everything he did in their fight. With that being said, Naruto. So right after he learned the Rasengan, he was at the bottom of the low Jonin tier. But now, 3 years, you're like, oh, he should be higher, he should be Jonin or I Jonin. Not really. Keep this in mind. The 3 years Naruto trained with Jiraiya were years where Naruto most likely learned how to do basic stuff, how to use his chakra a better way. And a great example come a bit later when they fight Itachi. You get to learn like how to cancel and genjutsu. So yeah, um, Naruto needed to learn the basic again for these 3 years. And on top of that, all he needed to learn basically the biggest upgrade he may have is like more chakra and bigger Rasengan. That's basically what Naruto did during that time skip. So I gotta tell, oh, he is Jonin now. I don't think so. He is not there yet. This is early Shippuden, and keep in mind, right now we are just talking bell test. And bell test, he did create a lot of clones. And this leads me to believe that he is most likely stronger than based Kimimaro. I specify, I tell you, base Kimimaro, because I do think State 2 Kimimaro is still leap and bond, leap and jumps, and State 2 Kimimaro is just far beyond Naruto, as you can see in the tier list anyway. When it comes to Sakura, okay, she knows mythical ninjutsu, that's a good thing. Now she can break the ground. That's impressive, that's scary. But I don't think she is quite on a low Jonin level. I do think Temari is stronger during the Retrieval arc because she basically destroyed an entire forest. And forget about that. Sakura will never come close to Temari if they fight. So yeah, this is how I picture it right now. Now, when it comes to Gaara and Deidara, this is early Shippuden. Keep that in mind. I don't think at that point, based on the fight we had between Deidara and Gaara, I don't think Deidara can beat Minato. So this is why this stops there. And of course, Deidara fought Gaara and Deidara won. Yes, he was clever. Yes, he used the village against Gaara. So I don't believe the gap between the both of them is that big. And this was a really weird fight where Gaara needed to protect the village. So yeah, just because of all of these factors, I do think they are on the same tier, but we can swap them. Like, I can place Gaara over Deidara and Deidara over Gaara. So I have done watching and reading again 2 fights that were really entertaining. Fight number 1, Itachi versus Team Kakashi. Battle number 2, Kizame versus Team Guy. And based on that tier list there, I can bet a lot of you are shocked. So look at this, and you will see that Sakura didn't go any higher. And look at that, and you see that Naruto got slightly higher. Here's the thing. Team Kakashi versus Itachi really felt like Kakashi and Naruto against Itachi. The biggest thing in that fight was Shio and Sakura role. They were there to support and assist.
They didn't do much outside of like releasing the genjutsu that was put on Naruto. That's all they did, let's be honest with that. And I think the biggest reason they did this, they were like, you know what? Sakura and Shio will fight Sasori later on, so we will keep some of their cards uh, hidden for now. Kakashi, in the other end, only went, I guess, higher, or maybe he didn't move at all. And the biggest reason I'm not sure is he didn't showcase as many things as he did in the bell test. In the bell test, you're like, oh, Kakashi can now spam a bunch of big jutsus, but now he didn't do much. Yes, he did really cool jutsus like going underneath the earth and lightning blade and stuff. He did stuff, you know? The fight was cool, but the bell test was more impressive. To explain why Kizame is higher than Itachi, I gotta explain why Kizame fight was more impressive. So, look at this. Now I went a bit down so you could see where I placed Tenten. So far, she is one of the weakest tuning level ninjas. That's why she is in low tuning. She did contribute to the fight versus Kizame, but she didn't do much. She threw stuff and she got trapped. It's sad to say, but it's the same for Rock Lee. He did a few kicks. He was able to like remove Samiyada from Kizame, and then boom, he was trapped as well. Neji was hands down the most impressive one in the bunch. I gotta say this. So, this goes back to what I mentioned. Kizame was much more impressive than Itachi. Yes, you hear that correctly. Kizame fought two Jonin level, and one of the two is Elite Jonin. And he fought two Chunin level. All of them had very high synergy and good teamwork. That was a 4v1. And he was able to trap 3 of the 4. And he forced my guy into using the 6th gate. So yeah, Kizame is stronger than base guy. And Kizame is, so far outside of Minato, the most impressive Jonin level ninja. Yes, that's how I feel after watching these fights. Now, the biggest reason why I placed 6th gate guy on a Kage tier, it's because the moment he used the 6th gate, he destroyed Kizame like he was nothing. He flipped the table on the guy. And this is why, so far, my guy's 6th gate is the strongest ninja we met so far in that world, in that story. And also, I felt like Guy was also much more impressive than Kakashi. That's why he is above Kakashi in the I Jonin tier. So I have done watching and reading again Sasori versus Chiyo and Sakura. After that really epic and great fight, I concluded that Chiyo is on a I Jonin level. She was impressive. She had high battle IQ, and she had really good firepower, and they fought well. Shio and Sakura fought Sasori. The guy is so far the strongest character in the show, outside of like Guy with the 6th gate. But yeah, Sasori is busted. Yes, he lost, but he lost only because he wanted to lose. That's the first thing. The second thing, he did underestimate both of his opponents, and he paid the cost for that. He paid the price for that. The teamwork of both Sakura and Shio was also on point. They were really, really strong. And they caught Sasori off guard many times. After this fight, I strongly believe that Sakura is on a low Jonin level. She's right underneath the Naruto that destroyed Aku. And let's be honest, Sakura showed something great. Her chakra control in full display. Her capacity to really fight a lot of enemies despite not having as much chakra as Naruto or other characters in the show. And another thing that would back up my word and my thought on Sasori being one of the strongest characters so far is Deidara himself. He did admit that he didn't know if Sasori was stronger than him or not. But do you really think that Deidara have seen Sasori through face? Do you really think that Deidara has seen the 100 puppet Sasori used against the girls? I don't think anyone has seen Sasori full power at full display outside of us, a viewer. But even there, he wanted to lose. The other thing to support why Sasori would be so strong is the claim of the third Kazekage being the strongest Kazekage there ever was. Sasori deleted the third Kazekage. It's simple. The third Kazekage is not in this list because we have not seen him fight at all. All we know is, oh, he has cool power and he is very dangerous. But yeah, a Sasori whiteout is Kazekage puppet defeated the third Kazekage. We can only assume that said Sasori was on his Iroko shell most likely. His Iroko shell was enough to defeat a Kage level opponent. A freaking Kage level opponent. Now, again, we have not seen that fight. It was only hinted at, so maybe he just poisoned the guy and then he left him to rot somewhere and they didn't really fought full on like a true fight together. Maybe that happened. Oh, I just poke you, you're poisoned, and then you will perish because of that. Maybe this is what happened and Sasori is not that impressive, but this manga is trying its best and it goes out of its way to say, yes, Sasori is one of the strongest out there. So far, Sasori is much more impressive than both Kizami and Itachi. But again, Kizami and Itachi will have other fights later on. And it's not because Sasori is higher than them that they don't value anything, they are worth crap. No, it's not the case. Even Deidara, for a fact, will go higher later on with his fight versus Sasuke. So this is Kazekage Retrieval arc, and this is how it looks like. And we may move around Naruto and Kakashi, I don't know. I maybe I will leave them be, because they didn't get a full-on fight with Deidara. Deidara was trying to poke the bear, he was trying to separate Naruto from Kakashi because he felt like he could not handle both. And one-armed Deidara cannot handle both. I'm sorry, Deidara fans, but one-armed Deidara is no match for Naruto and Kakashi. I think I will actually scale another version of Naruto outside of the Shippuden one, because that's that version of Naruto that will kick Deidara butt. But yeah. So yeah, now I just added Naruto with one tail cloak. That's exactly when he fought Deidara, and I do think he is only low Kage level. I don't think he's I Jonin because part 1 Naruto was like that. So just because of that, I feel like he scales to low Kage. And he is really in the middle because I do think Deidara and the others, they are stronger than him based on feats and stuff. But I do think that Naruto may be slightly above Gaara. But if he is slightly above Gaara, that means maybe he is also slightly above Deidara. So you know what? It's unfair to place him above Gaara but not Deidara. So let's just swap them like that. It feels more fair for everyone involved. He is on that low Kage tier, but he's like almost in the bottom of it. Gaara is above, Deidara is above, and all the others are also above. So yeah, this is getting spicy and juicy. So yeah, that's it for the Kazekage Retrieval arc. We have seen a lot of great feats. The action was flashy and great. The Kazekage Retrieval arc is over. We are now moving to Teunchi Bridge arc. Teunchi, or I don't know how the F they spell it. Anyhow, we will cover from chapter 283 to chapter 309. And from the anime, we will cover from episode 33 to episode 53. So this will get spicy. We will get new Sasuke, and new Sasuke is OP. We will get Yamato, and Yamato is OP. We will get Sai, and Sai is cool. So a lot going on there. So the Teunchi Bridge is over. It's done. I have read and I have seen again this arc. And I decided, you know what? It's time to add tiers in that tier list. It's time to shift things around. It's time to talk about power creep. So one of the new tier I added would be Beyond Kage, because I feel like High Kage and God of Shinobi should really have something in between. And there we are, Beyond Kage. So I also added other tiers like Legendary Sanin. I placed it above Jonin because it's not an official rank, it's more like a title people give. And I feel like the Sanin, they were weaker in the war. And I feel like now they're like at the peak of their prime. Like they are in the last few years where they can shine before their bodies collapses and make them weaker. So yeah, this is why I do think Legendary Sanin should be above Jonin but lower than Low Kage. I also added Kage guards in between Jonin and Jonin because most of these Kage guards, they are Jonin, but they must be some of the elite to be able to protect their Kage, you know? But here's the catch. It's lower than Jonin. It's lower than Jonin because I could see Kakashi, Guy, Iroko, these three, they basically stumps most of these Kage guards. So it's slightly above Jonin and slightly lower than Jonin. The last tier I decided to add would be 12 Shinobi Guardian. The biggest reason is I feel like these are ninjas that are stronger than the weakest jonins, but they are not really on a jonin level. I think Asuma, after his fight versus Idan and Kakuzu, is indeed in a jonin level, but right now we are some Teunchi bridge and we haven't seen Asuma full power. But yeah, that's why I decided to add this 12 Shinobi Guardians. And I feel like at that point, Naruto, now that the bridge is done, is above low Jonin. But he's not quite there. He's not like on the solid Jonin rank yet. And I'd say the same for Neji. Because Naruto in that Tenchi Bridge arc is indeed seemingly stronger than Neji. I didn't move Sakura anywhere because she likes feats, and nothing tells me, the viewer and reader, that she improved and got stronger after she defeated Sasori. She is still like on that low Jonin level. Now, we added new ninjas, and this is also the reason why I decided to add more tiers. Because I feel like Jonin tier was overcrowded and it started losing its meaning. Jonin are usually the elite in that verse, and seeing so many elite just feels weird. So yeah, Yamato was impressive. He was quite strong, and I feel like the anime pushed him further and made him stronger, especially with the fight versus Kabuto. Speaking of Kabuto, Kabuto is next. I do think Yamato is above Kabuto, that's why Kabuto lost, because Yamato had backup. But I do think they are like on the same realm. They are really strong and they bring some interesting fights. Now, next up would be Sai. I do think Sai is weaker than Red Pill Choji because Red Pill Choji was just scary. But I also think that Sai is stronger than Kimimaro State 1. Coming next, we got Naruto One Tail Shippuden. He was more impressive in that fight versus Orochimaru than what he was against Deidara. That's why he is now there. And next up would be Three Tail Cloak, the second strongest low Kage to that point. He is clearly stronger than Kimimaro State 2. But let's be honest, Sasuke is the new goal, Sasuke is the rival, Sasuke must be above him. So Sasuke naturally goes there. And for anyone that says, oh, but Sasuke is stronger than this, he has room to grow. His feats were impressive, that's why he is on a low Kage tier. Sasuke did take on a slightly weaker Naruto, a suppressed Yamato that didn't want to end his life out of respect for Sakura and Naruto, and he also took on Sai. So yeah, Sasuke took on new Team Kakashi with ease, without breaking a sweat. I do think this Sasuke is not quite there on Sasori level, but he is still very impressive. Give him his curse mark state 1 or 2, and he is probably on Sasori level. This Sasuke we have on screen is really base Sasuke that just stomps Team Kakashi. No buff, no increase, just Sasuke. Next up would be Four Tail Cloak. And Kabuto said it as a witness. Oh, we don't watch two shinobi having a fight. We watch monsters. So yeah, the fact that Orochimaru is laughing while they fight makes him so much more powerful than what people may think. Orochimaru is just a monster. He is impressive. His feats versus Four-Tail Naruto are much more impressive than when he fought Hiruzen. So that's why I do think this Orochimaru scales there. He had access to his arm, he created summoning, and he fought a freaking tail beast. A nerf tail beast. And based on the lore, a tail beast is basically a nuclear weapon. So Orochimaru took on a nuclear weapon. However, that may sound crazy, but I still think that Guy Six Gate is above Orochimaru. Only because Orochimaru is still kind of sick at some extent. He is not on his prime. But yeah, my guy Six Gate is just the biggest guy so far. He's the strongest one. But that may change. Maybe everything will change. Coming next, we got a new arc. The Akatsuki Suppression arc. And the one I referred to is from chapter 310 to chapter 343 if you read the manga. If you watch the anime, I will not consider any filler, but this will take place between episode 54 and episode 90 in the anime. So this is basically Team 10 Revenge arc with Asuma. This will get spicy. This will get interesting. As I am recording this segment in the bigger video, I have read and seen again Azuma dying. That was sad. I did tear up like every other time. So I gotta say, now power scaling is getting crazy. Shikamaru is OP. Yes, I placed him above Izumo and Kotetsu because he was the key. He is the one that figured out how Iden power worked. Izumo and Kotetsu were baffled by that. And even if they are kind of cool and they are on a special Jonin level, like in the higher end of it, I do think that Shikamaru was far more impressive than these two in the fight they had. I also feel like they need each other. They work very well with each other, and I feel like if they are both together, they could take on stronger opponent than themselves. But Shikamaru as one individual is much more resourceful than these two. I'm sorry, Izumo and Kotetsu, but this is the peak of your power, because this is sadly the last time we get to see them fight. After this fight, I feel like Shikamaru is just slightly below Izumo and Kotetsu. I feel like he could take on 1v1 any of these two. Now, if they tag team on him, they will most likely win, because the gap is not that big, but I still think that Shikamaru as one individual is more impressive. Next up, we got the Immortal. And the only reason why he is at a low Jonin, it's because he's really hard to deal with. He is immortal, basically. I do think he has some kind of fighting capacity that makes him interesting and really hard to deal with. I feel like he can stump anyone in that low Jonin tier. I also feel like he could beat anyone above as well, just because he's immortal. But his fighting capacity is very limited. The only reason why he went that high in my tier list is his acts. His acts are the reason why he's on a low Jonin level, because he is depicted as being really stupid, and he would have most likely died against Azuma if it wasn't for his immortality. So yeah, I do think Aidan, because he's immortal, he is reckless, and that sole fact that being reckless is okay because he's immortal really gives a weird scaling for Aiden. It's really hard to tell how you should really scale. But yeah, I don't think anyone in low Jonin tier can deal with him. I just don't think so. I feel like Aiden, even if you take out his immortality, he could handle most of these people in the same tier as him. But I don't think if you take out his immortality, he can beat any of the other ones above him. Now, the next up would be Aoba. Now, if you only read the manga, you're like, what? Wait, what happened? Why is he there now? He was like on a special joining before. But if you watch the anime, you kind of see Aoba while they rescue Azuma and the others. You see Aoba having a fight with Kakuzu. And that was impressive because the fight was somewhat even. Kakuzu is stronger, that's why he is much higher in that tier list, but the sole fact that Aoba did better than Izumo and Kotetsu is telling. Aoba was far more impressive than Kotetsu and Izumo. I'd say in that entire fight, he was the second strongest on the Leaf side. Now, next up, Asuma. He has Shiraku really strong technique that I can bet if he wasn't dealing with Akatsuki would have ended a lot of people's lives. So Asuma in his final fight was so impressive. He threw everything in. He is also depicted as someone that's very smart. He kind of figured out at some extent what Aiden power were. And after Shikamaru figured it out and said it to everyone, Azuma was cautious. He didn't did anything reckless. He was cautious. He tried. He threw shuriken on the ears. It worked. And Asuma himself was also very strong, using fire release and wind release, I think. So yeah, that was a really cool fight for Asuma. A great send off for the guy. But yeah, that's where you stop, my friend. Next up, Kakuzu. I do scale him to legendary signing, but again, this is only based on the anime and manga, and I will add more to this. If you only read the manga, you're like, how can you scale him that high only with the manga? You're right. The anime added more action with Kakuzu in the forefront. Kakuzu and Aoba exchange was great. Izumo and Kotetsu exchange with Kakuzu was also extended and bigger and more interesting. So I do think Kakuzu, based on what we have seen with him so far, he scales there. He is stronger than the average Jonin. He is not quite there on Gaara and Deidara tier, but again, we haven't seen Kakuzu full power yet. Lastly, I added Yugito there. And I tried my best. I really wanted to place her higher. But she is the hardest character to power scale so far. The main reason why she was the hardest character to power scale so far, it's because her fight was very brief. And most of it was off screen. Now, she did trap to Akatsuki people. That was cool. She was strong. And she did turn willingly into the two-tail. That was cool as well. She looks impressive and scary. I can bet if she dealt with normal people, she could have handled high level ninjas, but she fought Kakuzu and Eden. And these two are peak acts. They are basically immortals. So yeah, interesting. Yugito, this is as far as you can go. Your fight was too short. And even if you fight again in the forest during the war, I don't think I will place you higher. I just don't think so. So I am done reading and watching again the big fight between Shikamaru, Aiden, Kakuzu, and Kakashi. So yeah, here we are. So Ino was a bit more impressive in the anime than the manga, but it's really hard to scale her and to tell, oh, she is that strong or that weak. The biggest reason why she is in the low tuning rank, it's because she's deemed to be a tuning after the time skip. And that's the only reason. And she did fought. That's why she's not in the unknown territory. She fought, but I still feel like she was more of a support character, more of a character that can heal you and help you out, but she doesn't seem like a strong fighter. She doesn't seem like she is a strong tuning. Choji also had a lack of impressive feat in his fight, but I can still tell, oh yeah, he's probably stronger than Shikamaru from the Retrieval arc, but I don't think he is as good as Rock Lee. Rock Lee has access to gates that can increase his power. Choji is cool, he has raw strength, he has raw power, but if it wasn't for Shikamaru, Aiden would have deleted Choji. So yeah, I do think Choji, after the time skip, is on a high tuning level, but in the lower end of that tier. One ninja went up and one ninja didn't move. So Aiden stood there. Aiden is still a low Jonin. I don't think he can take on ninjas from higher tier. Or maybe he can just because he's immortal, but in terms of raw power, I don't think so. So he didn't move at all. He remains there just because of his axe. Next up would be Yamato. So Yamato went up. And the biggest reason is he saved Naruto. He really helped out Naruto. And he did put some misery for Kakuzu. Kakuzu was like, oh damn, another guy. So I gotta say Yamato is probably on that Kage's guard tier. But he is probably weaker than Azuma. Now this is where things are getting interesting. So Naruto Rasen Shuriken is right there on the legendary Sannin tier. I do think he is weaker than Gaara as a Kazekage, but he is most likely much stronger than these Edo ninjas we have seen. And I will also say this. Now people are like, oh, but all he does is like Shadow Clone and like Rasen Shuriken. Yes, but here's the thing. Now Naruto knows about all of the secret of the Shadow Clone. So this means now he is much smarter. Now he has higher battle IQ because now he uses these clone to gain experience and to make distraction. And this is really cool. This is really strong. And I will also add this. The Rasen Shuriken, even if it's very limited and dangerous, it's one of the strongest jutsu we encountered so far. So Naruto firepower is quite high. The biggest reason why he is not above Gaara and the others, it's because I feel like Gaara and the others
they would just stay away from that. They are smarter than Kakuzu. Kakuzu is very arrogant, he underestimates everyone, and this is why Kakuzu lost. And also because we had like 6 ninjas that fought Kakuzu, so yeah, if Naruto was alone, there's no way Naruto would have defeated Kakuzu. Kakuzu fought Kakashi for a long time, he fought Naruto, he fought Yamato, he fought Choji, so, of course, like, when Naruto comes into play in the mix, Kakuzu got weak here. Because he fought for a long time, he lost to Art. So, yeah, that goes back to the next character that went up, Kakashi Shippuden. So, Kakashi Shippuden was very impressive in that fight, I gotta say. He fought Aiden and Kakuzu almost on his own. Yes, Shikamaru was there, Choji was there. Ino, well, let's pretend Ino wasn't there because she didn't do much. But yeah, Choji and Shikamaru, they kind of did distraction. They did their job. They did their part in the bigger plan. But it's really Kakashi that did the heavy lifting. Whether you're reading the manga or the anime, I'd say the anime was actually more impressive than the manga because you could really tell that Kakashi was impressive. He was dodging people, he was hitting really hard, and I feel like he carried the team. I almost forgot about something. Shikamaru is now in the low Jonin tier, right in the middle, underneath Zabuza. Battle IQ, guys. It does matter. I do think Shikamaru can take on pretty much anyone underneath him. Maybe not Baki, maybe a bigger struggle there because Baki did one-shot a special Jonin, but Shikamaru Battle IQ made him a threat. Given prep time, he can beat most character in the verse. Let's be honest, he defeated an immortal guy. Almost on his own, and he was exhausted, and he doesn't have that much chakra. So the fact that he was able to dodge a bunch of attacks, and he was able to trap Aiden and defeat Aiden, basically, it was impressive. And again, the anime was more impressive than the manga, because in the anime we can see Shikamaru dodging and having really interesting skills when it comes to combat. So yeah, okay. Kakashi, let's go back to Kakashi. He is really strong. He didn't use his strongest technique because he felt like he didn't need it, and he wanted to explore the like other thing. He wanted to be like, oh, I will try out stuff. Like, he could have used Kamui from the get-go, but I think he wanted to try new things. And that worked out very well. He fought not necessarily at 100%, he fought maybe at 90% because Kamui is, yes, a big buff. So yeah, he fought very well. So that's why I do think this Kakashi now with the Akatsuki suppression arc, he is right there, right underneath Minato as a Jonin. I also gotta say this. Kakuzu. So Kakuzu is depicted as someone that has very high battle IQ. He is also very strong. So it's also very in character for him to underestimate everyone against him. And this is why he cannot be any higher. Sasori was more impressive. Sasori had freaking 100 puppet, and if he can hit you, you're dead. So yeah, Sasori is stronger than Kakuzu, without any doubt in my mind. But Kakuzu is no joke. He is really strong. He was able to use all chakra nature. And he fought basically 6 opponents. Kakashi, Yamato, Naruto, Choji, Shikamaru, and freaking Ino. Even if Ino did nothing, Ino was there, right?
So yeah, Kakuzu was a beast. He only fought like the cream of the crop, as they say. He fought some of the most skilled and strong character in the verse. Naruto is the main character, so of course he will get so many buff and upgrades and stuff. But yet Kakuzu fought very well. I can tell anyone underneath him will be defeated. Maybe not Sasuke because he can have like Curse Mark level 2, but Kakuzu is clearly stronger than this Sasuke on base form. So here we are. The next segment of this video all about power scaling. This time around, this is what I call Tale of the Gallant Sage. So we will be covering only the canon material, but this will take place between episode 135. Oh, never mind, rewind this. It will take place between episode 91 and episode 134 of the anime. And if you read the manga, this will take place between chapter 344 to 383. So if you're like, oh, this is all Mandarin, this is all like Chinese, I don't know, Japanese. This is basically Pain versus Jiraiya and Deidara versus Sasuke. These are the two fights that will be very covered in depth with this power scaling here. Jiraiya just died. So I gotta say, I did tear up again. Now, with that being said, the anime just added a few things about Suigetsu and Jugo. We kinda see what they can do more than the manga, which is really cool. With that being said, Kirin, she has interesting, sensitive power, whatever. She can heal, she can, like, censor people, or I don't know how to call it. She can sense people, basically, and that's her entire thing. So it's really hard to place her on any level because she doesn't really fight. That's not the point of that character in this battle shonen. So here we are. This is where the good stuff is. The ninjas. So Pain Human Path is obviously one of the weakest paths we have seen in the entire fight. Pain versus Jiraiya. The biggest reason is, well, we haven't seen what he could do. We only learn about that when Pain attacked the village. I'd say this is a Kage guard level ninja because he did really well against a Sanin, and this is impressive. I am sorry, but it gets really messy. So Suigetsu really feels like a Jonin, like some of the best Jonin out there. And the biggest reason is the anime. In the episode where he wants to grab that new sword of his, he basically fights lots of people and he destroys everyone with ease. Next up is Jugo. Jugo is weird. He is really strong. Sasuke needed his curse mark to basically quiet down the guy, calm down the guy. So yeah, Jugo is depicted as being quite strong, and this is why Sasuke wanted the guy in his team. Now, something very interesting happened. We could see the full extent of Deidara power. After the fight they had, you realize, oh, Deidara has so many jutsus. He is scary, he is really strong, and he fought like the worst opponent he could dream of. He fought the worst matchup he could do. So, despite that, the fight was really cool. One of the best fights in the series. Strategy, IQ, lore, action, everything worked very well. So, after this entire things, the main reason why Sasuke is now on a Kage tier is because he did absorb Orochimaru and he became stronger. His curse mark level 1, it's barely used. So that's why I place it underneath Deidara. And Deidara, you know him, he is OP. If he didn't fight Sasuke, I can bet these micro bomb would have deleted someone. So I do think Sasuke curse mark level 2 is above Deidara, but not by that much. The main reason why he is above it's because Sasuke won their fight. So yeah, very fun fight to watch again and read again. Next up would be Pain Bat. The biggest thing with him, he can absorb jutsus. So, like, it's kind of pointless against Might Guy. And I don't think he can do much against Iruko, but I do think, like, any other ninjas underneath, they will struggle because that Predapat is really fast. He was able to, like, absorb that giant Rasengan that Sage Mode Jiraiya did, and this is quite a feat. That was speed and firepower if you can absorb such a huge technique. And I gotta say, like, Animal Pat is so underrated. He is broken. He has so many summoning. If you don't have summoning on your side like Jiraiya did, good luck dealing with this crap, right? The biggest reason why Jiraiya was able to defeat that Pat, it's because he had summoning on his side. Again, really strong Pat. He doesn't fight per se, but the tool he uses makes him threatening and dangerous and OP. Next up would be Conan. Again, she was more impressive in the anime than the manga itself, but I don't think she goes any higher. She doesn't feel like a Kizami, but she feels strong enough to beat base guy. She's not on like 6 gig guy level, but she's above base guy. The next very interesting thing is Jiraiya. Now we have seen him fighting on base against Conan, and then for a short period of time he fought Animal Pat and the summoning. So base Jiraiya is actually very impressive. He is really strong. That is like the last fight he will get. So this is why he is that high now. Now, Sage Mode's Jiraiya is indeed weaker than Azra Pat. The biggest reason is Azra Pat caught off guard Jiraiya, first of all, and second, one attack took off the entire arm of Jiraiya Sage Mode. So this means he can basically one-shot most of his opponents, and he has the strength, he has the speed. So yeah, Azurapat is just a monster, and he will only get crazier and stronger with the assault on the village. So I don't think Sage Mode's Jiraiya is as strong as Orochimaru, but he is not that far behind. And the same goes for Azurapat. He's not that far behind Orochimaru. Now, next up is Itachi. I know he didn't fight yet. Well, he did fought. So, the flashbacks with Deidara and Itachi did showcase a really impressive Itachi able to just beat down a Jonin with ease. One can say he defeated a Kage really easily based on my tier list. So yeah, Itachi had some of his biggest feats so far in the manga and anime. We also get to see Itachi beating the crap out of Orochimaru when Orochimaru did try to take over his body. Now, I do think Enzo is depicted as being stronger than Itachi because he was able to take on 3 Sannin. He was above these 3 Sannin. So yeah, Anzo is dead scary. It's hinted so heavily that it's like one of the top dog in the universe so far. So yeah, this is why Anzo is that. He defeated the Sannin. Next up would be the 6th Path of Pain altogether. That may move around. But based on this fight, all 6 paths are Aikage so far. They are the strongest character we have met. And this is the future big threat that Naruto will need to take down by himself. Looking forward for next chapter, next segment of this huge video. So here we are. I am done with the tale of the gallant sage. So guess what? The next stop is the brothers fight. And on top of that, I do think we start the fight versus Killer Bee. I'm not quite sure if we will cover the entire fight, but I know we at least start their fight here. So what I mean by the brothers fight is if you read the manga, it's from chapter 383 to chapter 415. When you watch the anime, this is from episode 135 to 155. But again, I will not address any of the filler. I am sorry, all of these Attack fan. I do think it's part of the arc with Attack in it. I remember enjoying this. That was one of the few filler that I was like, oh, that's cool filler. I like it. But that was rare. So I'm sorry for all of the Itagata fan. We will not cover that. Anyhow, my guess, we start the fight versus Killer Bee. We see Sasuke taking on his brother. So here we are. I have done raiding and basically watching the brothers fight in Taka versus Killer Bee. After these 2 fights, I got to tell you something. Power scaling get weirder every time we bring this up back again. So Suigetsu went up because of his fight with Killer Bee. He was able to push Gyuki, the 8th tail, and he was able to basically buy some time for the rest of Team Taka to escape. And without Suigetsu, I don't see Sasuke being able to capture the fake Killer Bee. So yeah. Next up would be Jugo. I do think Jugo didn't showcase much in that fight. That's why he is right underneath Naruto Rasen Shuriken. I still think Naruto Rasen Shuriken is above that said Jugo. Now, with that being said, the next stop would be Sasuke Ebi. So, the main reason why he is an entire tier above his previous iteration is now his hatred has grown. So this means his power buff has grown. He got a power up between his Deidara fight and his Itachi fight. I do think based on feats alone, so far, the 6 Path of Pain are stronger than 6 Itachi. That's something I strongly believe. Now the other thing is how underrated Sasuke is. Everyone tends to downplay him by telling, oh, but Itachi didn't want to end his brother life. That may be true, but even if he could, he is sick and Sasuke is healthy. And the gap in power between both of them is not that high. I think if Itachi had uh, vile intent, I think if Itachi wanted Sasuke life, they would have probably deleted each other. Yeah, that's something I can see happening a lot. I do think Itachi has more feats. He may be slightly above Sasuke Kirschmark too, but again, it's a very close fight. And the biggest argument and the biggest thing we can tell against Itachi would be the guy is sick. Like, because he was sick, there are some attacks he could not dodge. Even if you try to say, oh, but he didn't want to delete Sasuke. That's true, but did he really wanted to get injured and die before he could release Sasuke from Orochimaru power? I don't think so. I just don't see that happening. Anyhow, Itachi sits right there, really high in the Aikage. I do think Killer Bee is slightly stronger than him because he fought an entire team and because Killer Bee is not sick. And because Killer Bee was playing around, he wasn't taking Taka seriously at all. Now, we get to see Itachi as an Enbu. I do think Itachi as an Enbu is weaker than the Obito we have seen so far. I also think that Itachi may be slightly stronger than this Obito despite being sick. Obito basically tells to everyone by himself, or I should say he tells Sasuke, if Itachi knew who I was and what I could do, he would have deleted me. So yeah. Now, losing the curse mark was huge for Sasuke. I do think Tree Tomoe Sasuke Taka is above his Ebi form, if we can call it that way. But he is weaker than the Sasuke that fought Itachi. Curse mark was a big amp, and losing it is bad. And the only reason why this Sasuke is in the same tier as the other one, it would be his hatred has grown. He is now fueled by hatred. So Sasuke power is increased because of that. But not accessing level 2 is a huge nerf. Now, Amaterasu is indeed stronger than his base form, but I don't think it's quite there along with Itachi or his Ebi. So yeah, that's how I see it. So yeah, Killer Bee really strong so far. I do think he's the strongest character. He was playing around with the guys. He fought like Suigetsu, Jugo, and Sasuke. He was writing his rap, and like he was really playing with these guys. I think Killer Bee, it's really hard to power scale him properly because he never really fights seriously. Even against Kizame, he shows restraint. That's just who Killer Bee is. Coming next, we got the Pain arc. This covers from chapter 416 to chapter 454. And this covers the anime from episode 156 and episode 180. Now I will add this. Again, I will sound like a broken record. We do not cover any filler. So this means only manga anime, what's canon to what happened in the original piece of art. That will be very nice, and power scaling will be weird.
So here we are. we are done with the pain arc. So I basically read and watched again the entire pain arc. With that being said, we got a new way to power scale Konohamaru. He was able to strike down one of the pains. Yes, he outplayed. He was smarter and he took by surprise the guy and he one shot him basically with a Rasengan. So I cannot scale Konohamaru any higher because if he really fought heads on Narakapat the same way Ibizu did, well, I think Konohamaru would have been deleted right here, right now. Speaking of Ibizu, I gotta admit, I was surprised to rewatch this part of the anime. Ibizu actually fought Narakapat on his own. And the fight was interesting. He would have died and lost. That's why Narakipat is higher, but Ibizu was surprising. That was his only showcase of him like being able to fight. So yeah, that was very interesting. Now with that being said, we got to see Kiba against one of the Paths of Pain, and it was assisted and he was decent. That's why I was like, you know what? He is on that special Jonin tier. It's obvious he probably have grown stronger than the Retrieval arc, but I don't think it's any stronger than where I placed him. The same goes for Shino. Shino fought Conan, and Conan was clearly a bigger threat than the Predabat. The Predabat is very interesting with his axe and stuff, but yeah, that's it. That's where it stops. We also got to see more of Choji being able to fight. He didn't fight that much, it was more like Kakashi and Choza. But yeah, we also get to see Inata. So Inata is clearly on that Aichuni level. She is probably underneath Choji, or maybe above Choji, I'm not quite sure. Just having Inata fight Divapad was quite entertaining and interesting to watch again. So yeah, for now, this is where I scale everyone. Sakura didn't do much. She was at the hospital helping others. And now this is where we get human pets quite high, I believe. Singles for Narukipat. I don't think Narukipat can beat Kie no Naruto, but I do think Narakapat can beat Sakura and Aku. So yeah, next up would be looking into it. Animal Pad didn't move at all. So okay, this is where things are getting spicy. So the Azrapat was really strong. He was the first character depicted in the show as being able to survive a Chidori. He was still able to move after taking that Chidori heads on. And on top of that, he's quite fast and quite strong. So, yeah, that's how I picture him. As I was reading through stuff, I realized I didn't place Kakashi Pain Arc. So I do think Kakashi Pain Arc is at least a tier above the one that fought Kakuzu. I still don't think he is on the level of Kakuzu yet, but he is in the same tier. And I do think that Kakashi in the Pain Arc is probably stronger than Jiraiya on his base form, but again, Jiraiya has Sage Mode, placing him higher. So yeah, I do think Kakashi in this fight versus Pain was quite impressive. With that being said, the next stop is Naruto Sage Mode. And a lot of you may wonder, oh, but MTT, why is he higher than Sasuke? Yes, he is higher than the Sasuke just after the B fight, but he is weaker than the Sasuke from the Kage Summit, and we will get really into that in the next segment of this video. But yeah, this is where I scale Sage Mode Naruto quite high. He's one of the top fighters right now. Um, Now, obviously, Pain Divapat is much higher, and the six Path of Pain are also higher. I won't get into Raikage yet because we are in the Pain arc segment. So yeah, the six Path is probably the biggest showcase of power. And the same goes for Divapad because Divapad basically blew up the Lee village. Now, when it comes to Nagato LT, I think he is probably on par with Enzo. Maybe he is like slightly above or below Enzo. I feel like if he was really above Enzo, why would have he waited that long to get Pain to do the dirty work? You know, if he was strong enough to take on Enzo, why did he wait until he had like all six Path of Pain? So that's my thought process. Um, I I do think Nagato with all six Path of Pain is more dangerous than LT Nagato, even if that sounds crazy and weird, because he has access to six bodies. But again, it's not really Edo Nagato yet. So yeah, this is a really weird character to scale. So I feel like this LT Nagato refers to like when he met Enzo and when Yaiko basically died. And at that point in the story, I don't think Nagato is strong enough to take on Enzo. Now, next up would be Naruto Six-Tail Croak. He is busted, he is really strong. Actually, I think I would place him higher than B. And the thought process behind it is B wasn't serious in this fight, so I can assume if he had some kind of state of mind versus Naruto, he would most likely die, but that's a guess. So I do think Six Tail Cloak is OP, bonkers. Anyhow, this is the Pain Arc, and I also placed Conan slightly higher. And the reason is it took like a bunch of Abrahami people to attack her, and even there they didn't really capture her, I mean. So yeah.
Future me talking. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. I thought I would do everything on one shot, but no, it's too long, it's too big. Anyway, stay tuned. Part 3 will be coming very soon. Have a great day and take care.